Hi, I'm Chuck Martin. Here we are at the AI Summit London, and I'm happy to say I've got with me here Carlos Sentis, founder and CEO of the World Innovation Alliance. Welcome.
Thank you so much, it's a pleasure to be here.
So tell me about the Alliance. I'm sure people don't know about this yet.
Yeah, because it's a new organization. It is a private executive firm and advisory organization that focuses on maximizing social impact. So what we do basically is to collaborate with companies, institutions, and leaders from all over the world, already more than 150 countries, to advise them on how to improve the world in a way that is beneficial for their own interests as well.
So how do you do that? I mean, how do you find all these countries and companies and so forth?
Yeah, so first of all, we look for extraordinary talent and experts from all fields, and we already have more than 1,000 experts that are practitioners, that are either developing AI tools for cancer research, that they are helping with education, for example, in Kenya, helping people to upskill on AI technologies. But also we have people that are working in large organizations, from United Nations agencies to governments, and definitely we have people from MasterCard, L'Oreal, and many others. And what we do is we try to align people on a main goal, which is how can we improve the lives of as many people as possible in a way that is beneficial for stakeholders. So the way this works is, after aligning some of these wonderful experts, thinking what are the best possible solutions that we could be advocating for, then we go do advocacy. So that advocacy happens through training that we do for organizations, for example, the United Nations Global Compact. We train them on how to leverage AI to maximize positive good and how to prevent some of the negative effects of AI, but also large companies like L'Oreal or many others, where we train some of their leaders how they can use better their resources to create a better impact in education, economic development, or health in a way that is good for their brand as well.
So how do you find a company that you decide you should work with? If you have, say, 1,000 companies or 2,000 companies, how do you pick them, and where do you go in the company to say, hey, let me tell you about this?
Yeah, so our main goal is to create the maximum positive impact we can with our work. And that means to help as many people to get education, economic development, or health as we possibly can. And that means that we need to be able to be useful to influential organizations to make sure that if we are able to provide some value to them, maybe we can influence influential leaders to use their resources better to create better impact. So that would mean, for example, if we can be useful to the government of a country on whatever strategy they're taking on, and we can help them to define a better education system, then their population can benefit from a better education system, or at least education campaigns, but it's something that is going to be good for them. So what we look for is both the sources of influence, power, and resources that we believe has the biggest potential for good that are underutilizing it. So what we see is that there are lots of great resources available in the world. There's philanthropy, there's lots of great intentions, but we don't see it optimized. And one of the things that AI can do for us as well is to optimize the way those resources are allocated. And one way to optimize it is making sure that whoever runs those organizations understands the value it has for them to actually go do something that is good for others as well.
So where does AI fit in all this?
Well, on the one side, AI has the biggest potential to maximize our ability to make impact in whatever field. It can be climate change, can be healthcare, it can be education. So AI is a multiplier. And as such, we see that the scalable solutions that we propose and the scalable solutions that are needed and the agreements that are needed from various stakeholders are going to benefit dramatically from AI. An example of that is if we use generative AI to look for the optimal solution for a problem, as creating lots of different variations of a solution and then trying to look for what is the one that is going to be the most effective. That same thing that was applied for AlphaFold, for example, advancing 1 billion years of research with the 200 million folding structures that is exactly the same concept, is using AI to look for the best solutions out of all the possibilities that we can think of. So AI can help us find solutions, can help us optimize the way we are developing the cures for diseases or looking for solutions for climate change, but also it can allow us to augment our reach, for example. So one way to use AI is definitely to see how can we educate as many people as possible by augmenting our capabilities of communication, but at the same time AI has lots of risks that we need to take into consideration. And one way that we want to make a big impact is by advising organizations on what are the risks of AI. Most people don't know the state of AI and what it can come from AI, and we want to make sure that people know what are lots of different risks that exist, how can we prevent them, what are regulations and policies that we can use to mitigate some of those effects. So both AI for good is huge, but mitigating the potential negative effects of AI is also going to be extremely important.
So companies, a lot of companies know this already, and they also want to do good already.
Yep.
And they want to follow the UN sustainability rules already.
Yep.
Where do you fit in that puzzle?
Well, first of all, maximization and optimization, and it's one of those things that a lot of people have never thought of, because when they are thinking of doing a CSR action, what they're looking for is, what is the cutest picture that I can take with the minimum effort that would fit properly in our CSR report? What I think is, you have 200,000 employees, you have 500 million clients, you reach 2 billion people with your communication campaigns every year, and if you leverage that even a little bit better, you could help 1 million girls in whatever country to get education. And so it is the idea that we can do way more without more investment, without more effort. You can do more if you use better the people that you have. An example would be, for example, what we do with volunteer day optimization. So volunteer days is, let's do a fun activity, team building, we look good, and it's fun, and there has some positive effects to it. Problem is, it's not the best thing we could be doing to help as much as possible with our work. And so what we see is, what are the best skills that our people have that they use in their work? Let's say, if you're a Procter & Gamble, you have people that are great at putting products in the corners of the world. Well, those same skills would be great for optimizing the drug delivery in Africa, for example, that sometimes there's roadblocks that we could surpass with the expertise of the private sector. So you have the best companies with the best talent, great skills, and yet you're planting 5 trees to take a picture when you could be actually advancing dramatically in the fight against cancer, in collaboration with other companies, in collaboration with AIs, and just using your skills better.
So who in the enterprise do you deal with to have this conversation?
Well, sometimes it has to be
CEO, CMO, where is it?
So sometimes it has to be the CEO, because if the CEO does not have the vision of doing everything you can to improve the world in a way that is good for us, people are not going to follow, because they think that this is not their key metric. And the problem with that is that if you look at the actual KPIs that exist right now, everybody has their own silo, everything is completely separated, and you're losing so much opportunity of what could be done in good collaboration. So sometimes CEO has to be there, but it's actually anyone that has any willingness to do something. So first of all, if I speak to the VP of HR, for example, they can organize trainings, and in those trainings, if you inspire people enough with very concrete examples of what they can do, then they can actually execute impact initiatives, or they can create, with the right departments, strategy departments, they can create new products or new services that can align better profit and impact.
So a year from now, what will we be talking about?
Well, I think it's important to be talking about the effects of AI in the world and what we can do. And not only my organization is a small private organization, or what I can do as a person, but what the world has to do to deal with AI. I think it's a huge revolution that most people have not understood the implications it's going to have in every aspect of our lives. It's probably going to affect our education system, economic system, political system. People are very reluctant to think that things can change, but things do change. And therefore, what I think is important is that some of the proposals that we and other people are advocating for are implemented. So examples are creating an international organization to regulate AI, or to at least contain some of the potential effects that it has, that looks at all of the potential risks that we can agree on, looks at what seem to be the best proposals out there, and that tries to implement pilots that could show if something seems to work or not. At least that, with urgency, is something that I would like to see happen, not because we say it, but because it seems to be a rational thing to do. Secondly, I believe it is important to organize as soon as possible a urgency session of the General Assembly of the United Nations, bringing together all the stakeholders. Again, we said it about the silos. Happens the same with countries, happens the same with different sectors, and you have academia doing their own thing, you have entrepreneurs doing their own thing, and it is very difficult to actually not only get a consensus, but leverage the best ideas and go and execute whatever project if we don't bring these actors together. And it has to be a convening power that is at least respected by everyone. So I would say that the UN, World Economic Forum, some governments, G20, bringing people together and saying, okay, this seems to be like a big deal because of all of this data that shows that it is a big deal. And therefore, what is the best thing that we can do about it as fast as we can? And so what I would like 1 year from now and 10 years from now is that not only people are more informed and they are more educated on how to use it for good and how to prevent negative effects, but also that we are all in a position of constructively building practical, scalable, useful things that can advance the sustainable development goals, or that can solve some of the problems that we're facing in terms of poverty or some of the crises that we're living.
Well, I look forward to the conversation next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.